In this video, I'll be covering some Silksong DLC ideas that I've either heard or came up with myself. First one I've heard in a lot of different places, and it's also based off of a Hollow Knight update, being another Lifeblood update, just farther exploring the plasmified worm ways and maybe even where the Lifeblood originally comes from. This update could add the Cut Farloom Bay area, as alchemist Xylotl says that his master found the Lifeblood in salt-stricken waters at the edge of Farloom. This next idea I came up with on my own, and it is boss fights against the three leaders of the factions of the Citadel, being the Conductors, the Architects, and the Vault Keepers. We can already kind of fight all three of them, as we fight an Unraveled using the corpse of a Conductor, a lesser Vault Keeper, and the thing we bind the Architect crest from is a fourth core, so we kind of fought an Architect too, but kinda. I would love to see true boss fights against each of these factions. They could be like how the first Sinner is just a harder and different version of Widow. This next idea is a pretty common idea, and it's to go back in time into Farloom's past. We could visit areas like the Waters of Karak, Not So Bile Water, Found Verdania, and Hunter's March, but bigger. I feel like this is very possible, as there's no real use for the Song of the Deep anymore once you've defeated all of the memory bosses. So this could add a use where you go to a specific location and play your song to switch between present and past Farloom. This is a really old DLC idea, which is being able to play as Hornet in Hollow Nest, as it originally started out as a DLC for Hollow Knight. I would really like to see this, and possibly even going back in time to the memories of the 5 Great Knights of Hollow Nest, like in the Pale Court mod. We could also possibly fight a mix between the Hollow Knight and the Pure Vessel, where he still doesn't have his other arm, but now is free of the infection, so is more willing to fight, and isn't just getting puppeted around and trying to kill himself half the time. We could also fight Zoe, which would be awesome. This next idea would be really cool and would definitely be possible, but would also be kind of iffy lore-wise. This is the Grim Troop, as it is said that they feast off the nightmares of dying kingdoms. But since Farloom is not dying, they wouldn't really be feasting off of any nightmares. So there's a chance that we don't get a Grim Troop DLC, but they could also be trying to hasten the downfall of Farloom to then feast off its nightmares, which could add some interesting plot. I would really like to see a Grim that incorporates part of the Knight from Hollow Knight's moveset, so possibly an Abyssal Shriek or Shade Soul instead of the little weird bat Grim launches out, or even a Desolate Dive. He could also just have, instead of Reaper Crest movement, Wanderer Crest movement, so then he's more like the Knight. This could also mess with the dance-like nature of the fight, as the Knight doesn't really fight that way, so having Grim be more like the Knight could mess that up. But if done right, it would be really cool. This next one is the most likely out of any of these, and that would be a Godhome or Godhome adjacent mode. This would be really fun, as many of the bosses in Silksong are much more like dances akin to Grim or the Pure Vessel from Hollow Knight, which would make them a lot funner to fight back to back to back in Pantheons or try to Radiant. But it would also provide a great challenge. It would also be fun to see what the Pantheon finishers for each of the Pantheons are, as we already have fought one of the Pinteresses, so would we just fight the other two to finish off the other Pantheons? Or would we possibly fight something like maybe the Fleas? If you have any ideas of what you'd like to finish off the Pantheon, I'd love to hear them in the comments. This last DLC idea is a bit out there, but it'd still be really cool, which would be an Act 4 2-player mode, where one player gets to play as Hornet and the other plays as Lace. It could be possible, as Lace and Hornet do seem to have very similar moves. Lace could just act as a reskin of Hornet, and it'd be really fun to fight bosses alongside a friend. The final DLC on my list actually will be coming to Silksong. It has been confirmed by Team Cheer in an interview now that a Steel City or Steel Soul or Steel Assassin DLC will be coming to Silksong related to the backer boss Steel Assassin Sharp. If you liked this video, you should check out my video I made on the Silksong Mask Maker.